Okay.
What, are we live?
Go.
Oh, Tyler, or Tully, that's you.
We're live? Okay, I didn't realize. Okay, guys. Hello, welcome again. This is the Sunday Perspective. We are live again. And today we have a special guest with us. We have Dallas. Say hello, Dallas.
What's up, people? How you doing?
Yeah. So we're back again to Sunday Perspective. My name is Dragon, and with me I have Telly and Punky. I'm just kidding.
Oh my god,
See, that's what I was planning on doing. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, you got it, right?
Yeah. So yeah, we're back again, and with us we have Dallas from our theater company, who is the artistic director.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah. Happy.
Yeah, we're happy to have you too.
So kind of a little bit of context. Since the last episode that we did with the inclusive theater, actually not the last episode, but the one before that, the inclusive theater, Dallas was actually in the chat, and even before he just showed a straight up interest in being with us, we wanted Dallas on.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Since when we were planning, see, we wanted you on, Dallas. Let's be honest. Since before even that episode was a thing, and so here we are. Here we go. Welcome to the Sunday Perspective, Dallas. How you doing?
You know, everyone at some point in their life wants to be wanted. So that right there makes my heart feel good.
I
That you
love
want
it.
me on the show.
I love it. I'm glad that we can give you that feeling. Before we really truly begin, though, I just want to say today is our season finale, season 2 finale.
That's wild.
Absolutely insane.
That's a whole lot of podcasts.
It is. Yeah, I didn't realize we got that far already.
Yeah, same.
It is technically 22 episodes because 2 of the episodes were lost.
Yeah, we had an accident happen last year. Dragons had a little bit of a flood, right?
Well, no. There's one that was lost from the beginning that I didn't download for whatever reason.
Oh.
And then one pretty recently which I just forgot to download. So
It was a Christmas episode, right?
yeah, it was the
Yeah.
Christmas
Yeah,
episode.
we had a really good episode, like
guys
day after
presents.
Christmas. Yeah, we got our gifts from Punky, and we did like the year in review of 2021.
It was
It was
so
a really good
good.
episode.
It was
very
a
good, but
but
unfortunately, yeah, that happened. Like you like lost power or like had a flood or something like that, right?
oh no, a lost Christmas special? Yeah, unfortunately. For those who are new to our podcast, and those who are currently listening to us on Spotify, welcome in. We have a live audience with us that does ask questions of our guests or of us too. That is kind of how it works. This is as much your podcast as it is ours. Dallas, I'm going to open that invitation to you as well. You can ask questions of us as well. And speaking of questions, who wants to start with the first question of the night?
I can go first.
All right, go for it.
All right. So I'm not gonna go in any specific order here. So number one, well, I did mention before, like in the intro, that you are the artistic director of Inclusive Theater here. And my first question is, how did you become the artistic director? Like, and what was that process like?
So, the executive director, the founder of Inclusive Theater of Western New York, was actually my former professor at Buff State.
Mhm.
And I took a short story writing class of hers. It was like an English course.
Mhm.
And because I've always considered myself a writer. And I took that class, I enjoyed it. And then when I graduated in 2016, I was kind of looking for something to do with my time. I knew that I wanted to write and I wanted to write more. And I found on Facebook this writing group.
Mhm.
I joined the writing group and I showed up, and it's Amy, the executive director of Inclusive Theater, who was then my former professor. Like,
Right.
hey, I remember you, and you remember me, and we joined the writing group, and then over time it sort of evolved into the theater company, right? And I was from that point of joining the writing group, I was there the whole time. Got some acting experience, got some directing experience, and I was kind of like a catch-all for if you need this thing done, and I can do that. If you need this thing done, I can do that. And that's kind of what I've built this reputation of, is being reliable and being dependable. Where if like
Yeah.
if you need something done, if you need anything, the first person you call is Dallas. That's kind of the reputation I've kind of tried to build myself into.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I became. And one day they asked me to be the artistic director, because essentially I was already doing the things that an artistic director does. So really it was just putting a title on it.
Right.
So that's really
Yeah.
the story of how I got to where I am in that perspective as a artistic director of a theater company. It just happened.
Wow.
Nice.
You created and you saw an opportunity and you really grabbed it by the
Right.
horns,
Yeah.
really. Because
In like an accidental way, right? Because like there was that opportunity there, but it's almost like you're going on this path and you don't really know where it's headed, but you're just going because it just
Yeah.
feels right.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was also along that path that I was already going, where like, all right, I want to be show that I'm dependable, reliable. You need this thing done, here I can do that. If you need someone to step in for this role,
Right.
I can do that. I can jump
Yeah.
in, 2 weeks before the show, learn these lines and get in there. If you need an extra director, sure, I've never done it before, but let me try my hand at it. And that's really what inclusive
Right.
theater is
Right.
all about. So essentially, I am a product of inclusive theater, getting the experience and becoming the artistic director.
Right. You're like, your name is so synonymous at this point with inclusive theater that
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like you, Virginia, and Amy are like the trifecta, if you will,
Yeah.
Yeah.
the inclusive trifecta,
Right.
which we have all come to know and love, and it's so. I'm so glad that my first professional, the Triforce, exactly, Jojo. I like it. I
That's
like
right. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Triforce. I'm
Triforce.
calling
That's
you
pretty
guys
dope.
that now. That's what I'm calling you guys now. The Triforce. I'm so glad that my first professional, thing was, well, okay, before it got shifted to now. Technically, what I auditioned for as my first professional theater gig was gonna be this, and it was gonna be under. What was it gonna be? Yeah, it was gonna be under you, and you love to see
Oh
it.
yeah. For
You-
Mojo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
on
Finally, at long last, you guys get to finally do
I know.
it.
Yeah.
yeah. We've been waiting since February, but and honestly, it's I would not do it with any other company. Honestly, inclusive theater has been so good to us,
Yeah. For
Yeah.
sure.
so good to us.
We love to hear that. And like, it's funny, you during your audition, because we had, I don't, did we work? I think I worked with you before with the Look Up project.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You did. Yeah.
So like I kind of knew you guys' work and kind of your just your whole vibe and how you do things. So I kind of had you, like, I knew you already
Yeah.
in my
Yeah.
mind, and then when you showed up for the audition and you knocked the audition out of the park, this is the perfect person for this role. And,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
again the thing about inclusive. Like, we don't really care who you are, where you come from, what your background is.
right,
If you're fit for the role, we're going to
Mhm.
give you an opportunity to take that role and
Right.
do what you want with it and put your skills and your effort and your time into it and make it what you want, but also
Right.
that fits the performance, and that's exactly what you did. So I was glad that you showed up for the audition, because it was a very easy choice to make, to fill that role. It's like, all right, this is the guy we need for this role.
I love it. I love it, and
Awesome.
it's good. It's good to I'm gonna speak as a director a little bit too. Like, it's good to kind of go through that, because you're like, you have literally like 5 or 6 directors like fighting over these actors, and you're like,
Yeah.
I will literally, but not really, have a round of fisticuffs over you. I want this person. Like what the process was for. Let me give a really good example. Punky. Everybody wanted Punky.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. We did.
So I've been told, which is such like that means so much to me. Like it makes me feel really happy knowing
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I gave off that impression.
Do you think, and actually this kind of brings up a kind of like a non-written down question. Do you think it is would you advise do you think it is advisable to tell an actor you've selected that kind of thing was happening?
It would depend on the actor, I think.
Okay.
Because I think sometimes there are actors who, like, they hear that and it's, oh, I'm good then. Like, and like they kind of get complacent,
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
you know. But there are also some actors where it could be motivating, right? It was like I
Mhm.
wasn't just good enough for one director because one, it could be a fluke, but for like all these directors I've managed to have some kind of appeal for, then that
Right.
could be like, all right, so I have confidence in myself that I can do this and
Mhm.
fill this
Yeah.
role.
Right.
So
That's
I think
exactly
it
how I
depends on
felt.
the actor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
As
exactly how I felt.
as one should, like I feel like at after a certain point you become very comfortable in your abilities, and you are able to like be like, hey, yeah, okay, I can do this and this thing very well. So now I'm gonna like kind of start delving into other things. Like you
Mhm.
start trying new things and you want to experiment with your abilities and expanding them. And I feel like that us as actors can really do. Is
Yeah.
experiment with the different things. Uh, it's like accents or like a stunt work or what have you, whatever. But I feel like it all really boils down to that initial vote of support. And I
Yeah.
just look at it, like you said, not everybody's gonna react that way, but I look at it as if you get that vote of support from your director, then you are a more motivated actor, and just
Yeah.
really applying this generally, like if you get that vote of like confidence from somebody that you look up to, you're gonna want to do things more. You're gonna be like, yeah, hey, this person sees that I can do it, so maybe I can do it. Maybe I don't have to doubt in my abilities, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I have what it takes inside of me to do what it is I gotta do.
And I often look at things with like I come from a world of sports too. Like that's kind of I wouldn't say a passion because that makes me sound a little bit weird, but like I understand like the concept, like the idea and the ideology of sports, right? So you have say you're either if you're like a young athlete or kind of an athlete that's kind of at the end of their career, and you go into a situation where all right, I need a contract, and there's five teams that are looking at me
Yeah,
compared to having one team
yeah,
on both sides. Like, all right, maybe I can make it. And here's my chance to prove myself.
right,
Especially for the athlete that's kind of on the end of their careers, like I kind of felt like I was losing a step a little bit,
right.
but
Mhm.
these people still see some kind of value in me that I still have something in me that I could contribute to make this an overall great product.
Do you
Yeah.
and this is something I'll pitch to everybody. Do you guys think that certain things like sometimes people like cuz I've seen this in football too sometimes, like do you think this is there's very much a case of people leave it like taking a pay cut or not going to something that is as much money if it means that they're a better person, they're a more fulfilled person, they're more happier at the end of the day.
In most cases, I would say it's it's a selfless thing.
Yeah,
It's a selfless uh, purpose, but the end result maybe for selfish reasons. So most of the time, I see people taking like if you take a pay cut,
yeah,
it's more so like all right, like if we're talking like from a business standpoint,
right,
I'll take less so we can more money for even better people to get on the team so that maybe this team can go far and maybe win a championship or something like that. So it's selfless saying like, all right, I'm gonna sacrifice uh, my own personal well-being or
right,
whatever in order for the team to do better.
right,
which is a selfless kind of thing. But the selfish reason I'm doing this so I get a better chance to get a championship, and also
Fair.
to prove myself that maybe, all right, I took a pay cut this time, but next time the money's floating around, remember, I took a little bit less last time. So how about, we make up for that? I can get a little bit more.
So somebody in chat says, so this current discussion is on financial profit versus philosophical profit, correct? What? So, do you know something? Oh my
In a,
god.
in a
Okay.
college ethics course, probably.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no,
Of course.
no, no.
In a booming laundromat,
yeah,
business, exceedingly
exceedingly
important.
important. That's right. That's crazy. That is all the way crazy. Wow. Okay, that's very familiar. I don't know what you're talking about. Uh-huh. Sure. Okay. So, my question to you, now coming back to kind of to you a little bit. What was your first show like?
First show I can remember being involved with was and where will you put the things you save? We did that show at Alleyway Theater,
Mm-hmm.
and it was kind of my first introduction into theater. Like it's more than one show. You're doing the auditions. It's getting real. There's Tech Week and
Yeah.
what kind of experience Tech Week can be, and then you're doing blocking and you're going to
Yeah.
the theater and working with sets and all of that. That was kind of my first introduction to it, and at start it was like, oh, this is pretty cool. There was so much going on that you don't really understand that there's a lot going on
Yeah.
until afterwards. It's like, oh wait, there was a lot going on there.
Right.
And then when you
Yeah.
kind of get further into it and you do more and more of these, it's like, oh, there was a lot going on.
Right.
I didn't really
Yeah.
understand. Now I'm
There's-
seeing it.
Tech Week is some of the most high adrenaline days like you can have, because you're just like, okay, go, and then that after that last show, the calm that suddenly comes over you, you're like, we just did that.
Right. Yeah.
And
I definitely got that feeling with that last show with Shakespeare.
like, yeah, with Shakespeare, I was like, I was sitting at my piano in the last show. I was like, ain't no way I'm sitting here as a musical director doing a show, doing a Shakespeare show in front of an audience. Like, it was such a weird, like, kind of a weird kind of like coming to my senses type moment. It was like strange
Like you're coming back down to earth in a way.
in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Sure.
like
Yeah.
it's like all this work you do, and it the payoff is really fast, but it's so worth it because you're so stressed out, but like you stop stressing out after opening night because you see
Yeah.
the reaction of the audience, because
And,
you
like,
know.
process
Definitely
and
makes a
everything.
big difference.
Yeah,
It gets easier too. Like you can understand all the blocking too and how
Right.
everything works, exits and entrances.
right. And it's just also the thing of, you see all your hard work paying off, so you are not like constant high drive it anymore, because you're opening night, you are like, oh my god, is this gonna work, is this gonna go well, am I gonna miss lines, da 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 da. But then after that first night, it's just kind of, you start to settle into a little bit of a groove. I mean, yeah, it's okay to be nervous, like,
Yeah.
that's a very natural thing, but it's also important to be like, you will find your groove,
Yeah.
Tech
Right.
week is tough, but you will find your groove. You are here for a reason. Inclusive theater called you for a reason, and
Yeah.
trust in your abilities to pull it off.
And in a
Exactly.
way, like you said, that nervousness is natural, but also it's for me, it's a sense that I don't get nervous. I don't really get stressed
Yeah.
often. The most times that I get stressed is when I feel that other people are stressed.
Right.
It's like,
Mhm.
oh man,
Yeah.
now everyone's stressed, and it's kind of like almost like this projection, like, all right, well, I have to be stressed, otherwise, it seems like, I don't. It to me, it gives off this appearance like I don't care, even though I
Right.
do.
Right.
But that nervousness is to me like a sense that you're aware
Right.
of just about everything.
Right.
Like it's a form of anxiety, but it's also a form of like, all right, I'm accounting for every little thing that could happen. Like I'm thinking about, okay, what if I do lose my line?
Yeah.
What am I gonna do to pick it back up or keep the show going? What if I do if I'm not in the right spot? What if I
Mhm.
do if this thing happens or that happens? You're just aware of everything that could happen, and it's
Right.
it's to me it's a sign that all right, I'm here, mentally or physically or spiritually somewhere else. I'm present
Right.
in the moment because I'm aware of everything that is around me.
Right.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and you gotta be aware of your aware of like the things that you're doing, the cues. There's so many things to be aware of, and it's good to be aware of those things because then you know then it's like you're building. I feel like you're building trust with other actors because uh, other actors and other people know that you know what you're doing,
Right.
and that is why people call you back. They call you back again and again for like is in some cases higher and higher positions and more difficult work because they know that you can pull it off.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, anybody else want to ask a question?
Do you have one, Sarah?
I'm trying to think.
Okay, I can ask one in the
Um,
meantime.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let me find one. Okay, I'll say yeah. Actually, all right, yeah. Here's the one. So we did mention we worked with you before on Look Up, our film that we were working on for the past year here. So my next question is, do you have any other film experience?
I don't believe that I do. Trying to think off the top of my head. I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Oh,
If anything comes to me, I'll let you know. But off the top of my head, I don't think so.
Hmm.
I've always been sort of behind the camera or behind the scenes in the shadows.
Yeah.
Whether
yeah, you
it's writing
really.
something or directing something or even do like photography or video or recording something. I've never really been in front of the camera. So that was my first little in front of film experience.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, you
have.
really came through for us with that.
You
He did, yeah.
really did,
Yeah.
in
Like how you mentioned,
such
like, yeah.
in such a big way. Like
Like how you
Yeah.
I
mentioned
know.
that, like, you said, like you're the guy that like everyone says, oh yeah, Dallas can do it. That was kind of an example of it right there. Yeah,
Yeah,
So you really came through for us with
you
that.
did. Yeah,
absolutely.
We've been trying to find somebody to fill that role,
Yeah.
and it just was
yeah.
no one. And
We had to do a
then
rewrite.
you
Yeah.
came in, and we're like, oh
Like,
Yep.
yes.
let's be honest, that role in itself was the way it was shaped, like it was pretty difficult to like recast. So,
Yeah.
like, I was holding out hope that we would keep it as it is, but life must go on and you gotta just find a way around it and you just
Right.
Yeah.
make it work. I have a kind of like a follow-up question to that. What was your reaction to when you actually got cast in Look Up and when you found out? That's
Yeah.
what I want to know.
It was a My initial reaction was like, all right, let's do this.
Yeah.
This will be fun. I don't really know what to expect.
Mm.
Like I've kind of worked with Ellen, and I kind of knew of some of you before. I had never really met a lot of you in person, but I kind of worked with
Yeah.
some of you tangentially. So it's like, all right, let's see what happens. And I was able to like fit it into my busy schedule because I'm always doing something
Yeah.
around here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my first reaction was like, all right, this is cool. All
Yeah.
right. Also the fact that you had asked me, I was like, oh, well, I didn't think they knew me like that. Like, all right, let's do this. I'm
Yep.
excited now.
Yep.
And then I showed up, and like everyone was there. Like everyone was like super happy to be there and like excited to see me. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, this is a good experience. Because like for me, and this may be getting deeper into the conversation, but like I can sometimes, and it's kind of something that I'm exploring.
Yeah.
I can sometimes go into a shell
Mm-hmm.
when I feel like I don't really belong there, or the environment isn't really conducive to my full and true self.
Right.
Yeah.
So when I go into that shell, I can like just shut down and shut off, which I'm sure we all kind of have those kind of things too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I know that feeling.
But stepping into that environment, it was like, okay, we can kind of like take down this guard. We can take down this protection. We don't have to like shut down and go into this little shell. These people are cool people, and they're here for the right reasons, and they want me to, be the best me that I can.
Yeah.
That makes me really happy that you felt so comfortable on that set.
Right.
Yeah.
Cause I'm not gonna lie to you. Like it's even. I'm gonna speak on me personally too. Like it's difficult for me to like socialize and like with among people by itself. So it's very. I'm very glad to know that you found comfort within the company, and you love
Yeah.
to see that. You love to see
Absolutely.
that's what we all kind of want. It's like
Yeah.
you know in like in like a work environment, because that's literally what it is. It was a work environment. Like we want to be safe, we want to be comfortable, and it's good when you're able to create that, because step one of making friendships, I feel like, is comfort and in other people, like how well you get along with other people and all that, how much you match their vibe, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good group of like people in our cast too. They're all good people. Everyone in our cast, like all
Yeah.
great people.
Yeah.
It's also how they treat you, right? It's like
Yeah, that too.
you
Yeah.
can get into environments where people, they don't treat you like a dignified human being.
No.
Yeah.
And when that happens for me, like if I don't feel like I'm being treated like a dignified human being, I'm gonna act a certain way.
Right.
So when you step into a place with like, all right, they see me,
Right.
not see me, but they see me.
Yeah.
And it's like, and we can get this show on the road, and I don't have to, do the conventional thing and be the person that you want me to be,
Right.
which is the conventional way that we kind of are thrown into how we live our lives with social media, internet, and all this. It's
Right.
conventional to be what is projected of you to be.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
unconventional to be ourselves.
Right.
And that's kind of this exploration that I'm going on with myself right now, is how can I get comfortable with doing the unconventional, even if it makes people uncomfortable.
Right.
And that's the initial part that we have to get over, and that I'm trying to get over, is making people uncomfortable because I'm
Right.
being my full and true self.
Right. It's like
Yeah.
it's like you like me as I am, or you don't.
Right.
I'm not gonna. It's kind of that thing of, I'm not gonna adjust myself to cater to somebody else. I'm gonna be true to myself.
Yeah.
And that's important. It's important to be yourself, literally.
Right.
Literally be yourself. All right.
I guess a good question to kind of build off of the whole movie topic is in the future, is that something you would want to delve into more, like
Ooh,
That's a good
even
question.
outside of like the acting, like behind the camera, writing for film, stuff like that?
that's a good question.
I would definitely like to write for film.
Hmm.
It's something that I've kind of gotten away from for a while was writing.
Uh,
We were talking before we started about, been at the last episode about goals
yeah.
Yeah.
and setting goals for ourselves. I remember a while ago, not a long time ago, but a while ago, I set the goal like I want to be a writer. I want to be the best writer of this generation. I want to be a best-selling author and all this. Like I set these goals for myself, and you kind of do those things and you try to reach that goal, and then life happens, and then you start to get thrown into life, and then other things happen. It throws you off that path,
Right.
and all of a sudden, other things pop up that you want to do or try, and it
Hmm.
kind of it took me off that path of being a writer
Yeah.
and into other things, like wanted to be a photographer or doing this or doing that, and it didn't feel like I was really getting anywhere, and I kept getting frustrated with myself that I wasn't getting anywhere. And I kind of found myself in this dead spot, like this no man's land of like, all right, well, what am I good at? What am
Right.
I gonna do
Yeah.
with my life, my career, and all of this?
Right.
And I was there for a while, and I watched. You told me about the podcast, and I watched that episode. I was live, tuned into that episode, even though "tune in" is kind of a dated word.
Right.
But I watched, and it was like, all right, setting goals. That's a good topic. I can get into this.
Right.
All right, what are some goals that I have? And I went to Delaware Park later that week.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in the park. I had my notebook with me. I really hadn't had my notebook with me for a while.
Yeah.
Usually I would just walk around and listen to music, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
I brought my notebook with like, all right, let me write down some goals.
Yeah.
And I sat there for like, to be about 15 minutes with just a blank sheet of paper. It's like, do I not have any goals?
Right.
Like I know that I do, but my mind has all this stuff in there of things that I've done, things that I want to do that, well, what do I want to do?
Right.
And later on in the week at work, I got a title change, and my title was changed to copywriter. And it's like,
Oh yeah.
okay, this makes sense.
Right.
Like, and I not even this makes sense, but like I felt so much joy,
Right.
just like excitement that I hadn't really felt in a while, like true excitement and true like perspective, like, oh right, oh wait, that's it.
Right.
That's what I wanted to do all along, and now it's here, and now things are getting a little bit more clear, and now I have this path. All right, that's right. That's when I wanted to be a writer, and here it is in this professional world. Telling
Right.
me, hey, remember me? Friend writing, remember
Right.
me? This is what you wanted all along.
It's kind of like, it kind of begs the question is, sometimes maybe it's not, well, not even a question. Sometimes maybe it's not as easy as, hey, sitting down and writing what I want. Sometimes maybe it's waiting for a thing to happen that you didn't know needed to happen for you to find your purpose, for you to be like, because like your thing, you found your goal, I would say, or at least to the path towards your goal when you became a copywriter. Maybe that's what you need, something that you maybe weren't necessarily looking for.
I heard this saying a while ago where it was when you stop looking for answers, sometimes the universe hands you the cheat sheet.
Right.
Oh, I like
Yeah.
that.
I
I've
like
never
that,
heard
yeah.
that before. I like that.
You know, it's like you're always looking for something and you never find it. Like when you lose your keys, like
Mhm.
where are my keys? I just had them. Where are they? all of a sudden when you stop looking for them
They show
is
up.
when
Right.
they start to show up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You just gotta. It's really just about like being patient with yourself, being
Mhm.
patient and kind with yourself, because if you are like setting goals, like let's do a way back callback, um again, like being kind to yourself, because if you're not kind to yourself or patient with yourself in those goals, I feel like you're not gonna be able to achieve what you want to achieve, because
Right.
you're just rushing into it, and it's worrying you, or it's giving you anxiety, or it's making you feel unhappy. But it's important to just take the minute of, like, all right, maybe if I don't stress on it so much, maybe I'll find an answer that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Maybe if I reset myself. I think that's maybe what could have been the reset. Going to the park may have been that reset for you.
Yeah.
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 Could be. Yeah.
No?
It's like, you're thrown into so many different things where oftentimes you're looking for something, you could be looking in the wrong spot. Like you're
Right.
just looking in the
Mhm.
wrong environment, and that's why you can't find it.
Right.
So if you just allow yourself to, go into a different environment, then maybe that's where the answer is. And
Yeah.
for me, like it's kind of the opposite of what we were talking about before, like nervous is having this super awareness.
Right.
Sometimes for those things, you kind of need to take the awareness down a little bit
Right.
because you get
True.
so super
Yeah.
focused on something like tunnel vision. This is where it is. I know it's right here. This is where it has to be.
Right.
And really, could be anywhere
Anywhere.
outside of your
Yeah.
peripheral.
Right. It could.
So true.
You may have literally zoomed right past your answers because you were so tunnel visioned at one specific spot that you may not have seen. Hey, my answer was right there the whole time, but I went too far. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
or I didn't go far enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Potentially. Just a reminder for anybody listening to us and hanging out with us in chat. If you have any questions to ask of our guests or to us, feel free to drop them and we'll be happy to answer. Oh, Jojo Shorty, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. You
nice.
love to see it.
Oh, nice.
There we go.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to the Dragon Army.
Yeah, welcome in. Okay, anybody got a question before I drop my next one?
I was actually gonna ask. You seem to have been doing a lot, different things in theater and everything. Is there anything that you haven't done that you are wanting to do, or stuff that you're looking to do in the future?
It's a good question.
Yeah, it's kind of like one of my questions here is like I'd say like a dream role you have like in theater or like
Yeah.
writing or anything
Yeah.
like that.
When it comes to theater, I think I am very much being in a lazy river. You just let the river take you where it takes you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like I never really saw myself in theater or this involved with theater.
Mhm.
I've been enjoying it a lot. And because I never really saw myself in it, I don't really see for myself, like I don't really have those kind of goals because I don't really know where I'm going with it.
Right.
So I think at this point, I'm kind of just letting it take me where it takes me.
Mhm.
I'm considering being back on stage again,
Mhm.
maybe in a comedia role.
Comedia.
Yeah.
This isn't some comedia piece. Comedia practice, I should say.
I could see myself doing that, or maybe a more a more dramatic role, I think. Just to try it out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to dip a
Yeah.
toe in and see what happens. Because
I
what's
mean,
the worst that can happen?
right. I mean,
True.
why not, right? Because you've been
Yeah.
directing for so long. Give acting a shot,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know?
Like, this is the first time I've acted in like 3 years, I
Yeah.
think. Done mostly like voice acting, if anything.
Yeah.
It's like because like I've acted before, and it was just like car speeding by. It was just something that I kind of just did, and people seemed to like it. I was asked by a local playwright to be in his show that he put on in November
Hmm.
at Subversive Theater. You know, it was kind of the same thing. Like, hey, we need someone to fill this role. Dallas, can you do it?
Yeah.
Like, sure, okay. And I did it. It was great. Um, so yeah, I could do it. I often tell myself, no, you're not really an actor, but I mean, in theater, you're whatever the theater gods ask you to be.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. I mean, for some people, acting isn't their thing. For some people, directing isn't their thing. For some people, they're just powerhouses who are good at frickin' everything. You know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's just a matter of finding what your thing is. Amy, hello, welcome to the stream.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
I love it.
Välkommen, as we
Hal-
say in Swedish.
yeah, nice. Also German, actually. Willkommen.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I
that's
think
right.
so. I think so. All right, I got one question.
Okay.
I'll go to question 6 first because I want to do that one first. Who inspires you?
That's a good question.
Hmm.
What is your inspiration? And I'll actually throw this to everybody as well.
All right.
Inspiration?
I can go first if you want.
Okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
Yeah.
All right. I'd say my inspiration for like my acting I do now is just I don't know, just my friends around me, people, my castmates, and things like that, and yeah, just the people I'm around. Like I see, and like a lot of the castmates, like in like productions I'm in, even like our movie too, and also I've said it before. Also, the star of our movie, she's also an inspiration to me. Also, I'd say. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I'm like mostly inspired by like some like my favorite actors, actresses like Keanu
Yeah.
Reeves, Kristen Stewart, stuff like
Oh yeah,
that.
me too. Yeah,
Yeah.
stuff like that too.
It was her one of her movies that kind of inspired me to get into theater.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And now I've been doing it for oh man, probably since like 2015 now.
Oh
Oh
wow.
wow.
Yeah. Other than that, my main inspiration, I think, is just almost like just myself,
Yeah, it's
There you
and
go.
what I
There you
know I
go.
want to do with my life. That's kind of what inspires me on the day to day.
You carve your own path.
right.
There you go.
That's kind of my same answer, where it's kind of like you kind of inspire yourself sometimes.
Right.
And I think for me, the beauty of working with inclusive is there's this overarching purpose of it,
Right.
where you're trying to inspire others and bring out best in others and trying to bring something to a community, right? And for a while, I would always tell myself, in 1955 were the Montgomery bus boycotts.
Right.
Martin Luther King was, I believe, 26 years old. And I'm, at the time I was 25, 26, 27. I'm that same age now. What am I doing
Right.
with my life? What am I doing to, maybe I can't change the world, but I can maybe participate in changing my little world around me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Yeah.
kind of why I've stayed with inclusive, because I'm bringing some kind of change to this little world around. That's why I
Yeah.
pretty much do everything that I do in my life, where I'm trying to make this little world that I'm in a better place.
Right. And inclusive, as you know, I'm gonna answer this. First of all, um, my oh my God, our executive director for
Oh,
inclusive out here breaking us. I love it. You can't have inspiration without perspiration.
yes,
Yeah,
no,
for sure.
true. You gotta sweat it to get it.
Yes, I
Gotta
love it.
sweat it to get it.
I love it. I love this. Um, my inspiration, I would say a lot of it is my family. Um, and acting wise, I would say, Ramin Kermalu, my favorite Broadway actor, and just the people I work with, Dallas, Punky, Telly, Amy, like all the inclusive theater people. Like this, it's so wonderful. It's the environment that's been given to you, um, you know, is just wonderful. We all had that perspiration today, Lord. Oh my God.
Oh my
Oh
god, that was
my God.
dripping in sweat.
Let me tell you guys. So we had rehearsal today, and it was a costumed rehearsal for some of us. And of course, I showed up in my suit, not knowing that it would be that hot, and it was hot, and
Oh, it was.
plus really hot lights. It was great. It was great. Yeah, it was great.
Your voice got so squeaky there.
It was great.
Just
Wombat City.
Oh my
God,
God.
that's pretty much it.
Oh my God. It was
Oh,
great. It was great. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. My Discord froze up. Uh-oh. Well, Telly,
I was wondering, he's been
rip,
sleeping for
rip.
a while.
We lost our third host. Rip.
Bye.
Bye. Telly, let me know when you're in so we can get you in. But in the meantime, Punky, do you have a question?
Good question.
I
I
will.
don't know. You go ahead. Let me think something.
What advice would you give to new actors and directors?
Oh no, that's a good question.
Having done both.
I was gonna say to have confidence in yourself, but it's easy to say, right?
Mhm.
I think the best advice that I could give or think of is to just let loose.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Like
Yeah.
this is especially with inclusive, this is a space where you are free to be yourself
Right.
without judgment, without anything, because we want you to be the best you,
Of course.
right? And the only adaptations that we make aren't to people, it's just to the environment that's
Right.
around us.
Right.
That's really the overarching change that needs to happen for a lot of us. We don't have to change ourselves, we just have to change the environment that we're in. That's kind of what I was saying earlier about
Mhm.
being yourself.
Right.
I don't have to change myself to be who other people want me to be.
Right.
Really, it just means changing the environment, or in those terms, changing the people that I'm around.
Right.
The social anxiety comes from the anxiety of being around people that you don't feel comfortable being comfortable around.
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
So for it, especially with us in theater, just try your best to come as yourself,
Yeah.
and that will bear you the most fruit. I think I used that
Yeah.
phrase right.
Yeah. I feel like most people in theater are generally like very accepting, very chill,
Yeah.
very open-minded type people. So it's good for somebody who's shy or whatever to find a hobby or find um just find a sense of belonging,
Hmm.
I suppose.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be right back. Somebody else want to ask a question? Take over
Okay.
for me.
All right. I'll find one here. Okay. All right. Yeah, I got a good one right here. So with I'd say like this question is what are the challenges of online theater versus live theater like due to COVID?
Oh, did he
Um,
say again?
Because like
Oh, there he is.
ever since COVID like hit a few years ago, like a lot of people don't now, and yeah, I'm right here. So yeah, like a lot of people have shifted from live theater to online theater like due to the pandemic. So what would you say is like a challenge from like making the shift?
I think the biggest challenge was technology.
Yeah,
Right? Because one thing that we discovered is that if you do it online or do it on a stage, it's still theater. It's
true.
still
Yeah.
art. In a way, online theater was more accessible, so you can get more people. Like we've had um, plays sent in from places like New Zealand and
Oh wow.
all over, right? So it's more accessible that way, and you're just reading it,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and
True.
the technology part where you could be doing something and all of a sudden your computer freezes up or you lose Wi-Fi and it kind of throws everything off. I think that's really one of the biggest challenges is technology.
Yeah.
But
Like
like
what
I
just
said
happened to
before,
me.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 All of a sudden your actor freezes up mid-line. You're like, oh, is he gonna come back?
Mhm.
Should I wait to
Yeah.
give my next line or is he gonna come back mid-line? And then, but
Yeah.
either way, it's still theater and it's still art and
Right.
it should
Sure.
be appreciated as such.
Should.
Yeah.
Oh,
Definitely.
it's a question about online theater thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd say
Um,
technology is a big role in it because like some people don't really use like some of this like kind of technology we use nowadays for
right.
this thing. Like it might be new to some people. Like the things I've done, the voice acting I've done, it was like on Zoom and Discord. Like I've used Discord a lot, but like I never used Zoom until the pandemic hit. So like I'm still kind of learning it now. Like there's
Right.
still some stuff on
Yeah.
Zoom that's kind of confusing. Like, and I guess you just kind of learn it as you go.
Right. It's so cool that technology has kind of helped us in this way because like the loneliness and the distance that the pandemic had created was immediately closed up by like um it was like, oh, so you're gonna shut us down? Too bad, we're still gonna do our
Right.
theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
not
People
gonna stop us.
adapted.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
adapted to that, pandemic, and
We
we
did.
couldn't do live theater anymore.
Right.
So we adapted, and yeah, it
And
was
here we
amazing.
are now. Yeah.
Here we
Yeah.
are. Online
That's the
theater.
thing
Made it
about
through it.
humans, right? Where we kind of is like weird evolved creatures that we are.
Right.
We
Yeah.
always find a way to like try to bring each other back together in
Yeah.
most cases. We
And
we are communicable, like we communicate, like that's how we evolve, that's how we pass our stories on for generations, like we
right.
communicate with each other. And it's odd and kind of depressing in a way that COVID was a communicable disease, like you could just spread it on to each
Yeah.
other. So
Yeah.
it took us away from being together and had us staying further apart.
Right.
We're locked up in our houses. When we are together, we're 6 feet apart, social distancing, and
Mhm.
it took us apart from each other. But with the acceleration of using technology
Yeah.
and everything else, we always found a way to like just bring ourselves back together as a community.
Right.
Right. I mean, life just finds a way to make it work. As it's a very theater thing, kind of like yes and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life is sometimes literally is yes and. You know.
It has to be because
Yeah.
if we go the yes but,
Yeah.
it's agreeing but also disagreeing at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
And with the
Yeah.
yes and you're agreeing to it and the and is addition. You're adding on
Right.
to it.
Right.
Mhm.
Um. Punky, do you have questions? Or
Honestly, pretty much all of the questions I had have already been asked.
I
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah. Sometimes,
So
yeah.
so I know you're a fellow podcaster, and for the benefit of the listeners on Spotify, I want you to vocalize this. Tell us about your podcast and tell us where we can find it.
So I do a podcast with fellow comedian Andrew Scary, and it's called "What's That Show About Buffalo?" And it's exactly the show is about exactly what's in the title. What is that show about? Buffalo.
Yeah.
So essentially, we get on there, which we try to have a guest or two on. We'll have our random conversation. It's kind of developed as a lifestyle podcast, but not all the way. We'll do some comedy skits in there. We'll talk about maybe some current events, and we've kind of like trying to build it into kind of like a fake radio show.
Right.
Mhm.
You have your bits, you have your guests, and there's like little breaks in between. And most of it is just improv. Like we did a comedy open mic, and we didn't write anything up. We just went up to the microphones and did some improv. It went really well. So actually, I met Andrew at he did some work with Inclusive, and I worked with him at a show that I told you about before, where they said, "Hey Dallas, we need you to fill this role. You got us?" Like, sure, let's do it. Uh, Hooked up with him, and we were just like naturally funny together, just in conversation.
Right.
And he
Oh, okay,
had
yeah.
this idea
Yeah.
of the podcast, like, hey, we want to do this podcast and maybe do some comedy with me. Like, sure, I like comedy.
Right.
I do some improv. So we've been doing it since, I believe, April. You can find us on Spotify or Google Podcast. We're also bi-weekly, so we try to have an episode out every 2 weeks.
Uh-huh.
And it's pretty much just us getting to a microphone, and whatever the first thing that comes to our mind is what comes to our mind. In our
There you
last
go.
episode, I ranted about quite a few things. I ranted about Elon Musk. I ranted about tennis. I ranted about the top 5 or 4 worst cities in America.
Oh.
Would you like to hear that list?
I would love
Yeah,
Kinda.
I do.
Yeah.
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 Okay, so number 4, I believe, was I think it was New York City.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Already.
Here's the thing, and I apologize to any New York City listeners out there, but I feel like people from New York City, they have this feeling that because they're from New York City, that they're inherently tough.
Yeah.
New York City tough. Like it's this armor that they have on them. Like nothing can touch them simply
Yeah.
because they're from New York City.
New York,
So
New York City plot armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
number 3 was Atlanta, but not Atlanta specifically. More so Atlanta Braves fans. I'm a New York. I'm a fan of the New York Mets. So
Oh my
naturally, I'm supposed to have a rivalry against Atlanta Braves fans.
Fair.
The Atlanta Braves fans, they're spoiled, and we don't have to get into it, but they're,
Yeah.
they're on that list.
Yeah.
Yep.
Number 2 is Cleveland for
Yeah.
obvious reasons, and number one is Boston.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
Hey.
worst city ever.
Look.
It's not even number 1 on the list. It's the title of the list.
Look, I'm sorry if you're a Patriots fan, but no. Just no. No. As a natural Bills fan, yeah, no.
But yeah, that's really what the podcast is. I'll bring up random, give me your top 3, give me your top 4 of this. We'll have some discussion, maybe bring a guest on sometimes, and
Yeah.
it's just a good time, a good way to kill some time if you need a laugh or anything else. So what's that
sounds
show
like
about
fun.
Buffalo on Spotify and Google Podcasts?
Um,
Yeah, sounds
the Boo, Pat. Boo. That's right. Exactly. The chat, the almighty chat demands a Clarice appearance.
So Clarice right now is literally, she's not even sleeping. She's laying down in front of me. I can see if she wants to get up here, but she's laying down in her tunnel. Actually, like a couple minutes ago, she was trying to get up, but her claw got stuck in the rug, and she
Oh
couldn't
my
close.
god.
baby.
For anybody listening to us on Spotify, Clarice is Dallas's cat.
Look at this.
She's like, nah. She's like,
Nah.
I'm not doing this.
That's
Joni's sleeping.
Joni. Yeah.
Oh no, Max. Max is sleeping right next to me. Yeah, he's a kitty.
Yeah. Lift her up.
She doesn't like to be held.
Oh really?
She only likes
Aww.
pets. Like I'll try to pick her. She's like, no, we don't. We don't do that, buddy. No.
Again.
I love holding kitties.
Again, I'll bring it all the way back. I just want to be held. I'll just bring it all the way back. Oh my god. Is that this podcast theme just to make references to the plays that we're doing?
I think so.
I think so because we had one for Landro, we had one for we had a lot. We have a lot of them.
Yeah. Like right before we started this podcast, I had questions for Dragon. One, that what would you do if you're doing laundry? Oh, I did think.
Ooh.
Literally what she's doing right now. She's like, looking at me like, when are you gonna be done? When are we going to bed? Did you fill up my water bowl?
Oh, that's so sweet.
And you said that's why we wanted you to do it.
That's why we want you. I feel like we're in between two worlds. Oh my god, Amy. Oh
How
my.
about some therapy?
Yeah, I think after that joke, I need some therapy. In a pandemic universe, oh my god, literally.
And then make sure for Clarice and all of our other cats and cat listeners, get some kitty litter, right?
Yeah, there you go. We're like full circle. Full circle. I love it.
Let's throw in some
I love how
Oh, yeah,
Paisley. Oh,
yeah.
pink Paisley. What is pink Paisley? Cause I know in one of the, oh my god, I don't want to say too much, but I heard pink Paisley. What is pink Paisley? Is it like a shade of pink?
That was a line in the plan. Yeah.
kitty litter
Paisley
for the
that's
cat.
pink.
Yeah, is it like a shade of pink?
Yeah. Pink Paisley fanatic. I might. Are you guys a pink Paisley fanatic?
Yeah, because there's one I forgot. Don't forget some pink paisley for Ronnie, right?
Yeah. Y'all better slay that audition.
Yeah, you're right. I am missing just one more, and it's really the epilogue for it all.
Yeah.
Oh my god, such dad jokes,
What? I love how this has just gone from a interview to now just a conglomerate chaos, just everything, dad jokes galore. I love it, and that's how it should be, just chill vibes. Ronnie audition slayer, oh my god. Which, by the way, I'm directing with Amy.
That's cool, yeah.
Yeah.
That one looks really good. I was saying it just earlier.
So good. So
Yeah, it's
good.
coming along good.
Okay, I literally have one last question before we descend further back into the chaos.
Okay.
What kind of things do you draw inspiration from wait. Oh, never mind. I have a few more.
Yeah.
What kind of impact do you think theater has on a city like Buffalo?
I think it's another avenue of expression, right?
Yeah.
It's a place where people can come to and just express themselves,
Right.
and also it's another form of entertainment, right? 'Cause right now we have a a very good football team that
Yes.
Hmm.
people love and would literally die for, like
Oh,
jumping off of a bus into a table
into a
to see a
table. Yeah.
Oh,
player.
Yeah. Yeah. Yo.
So it's just another avenue to enjoy something, and for the people that's in it, another avenue for them to express themselves.
Yeah. I want to. Okay. Okay. Amy asks. Amy says, Dallas, tell them your nickname from Definitive and how you got it. Oh, I want to know this. I want to know this.
So, Definitive is a local rapper here in Buffalo. Shout out to Avery. Salute to Avery. And he gave me the nickname. And so here, the thing with a nickname from the Definitive, once you get a nickname from the Definitive, like you've officially made it.
Oh,
Like you are officially someone. And my nickname is Dominant D.
Dominic D.
Dominant D.
really?
And
Ooh.
so Avery, I think Avery and I, Definitive, I think we share a birthday, September 9th. If it's not the same day, it's at least a day before.
Yeah.
So we're birthday twins. We're Virgo twins.
Twinsies.
Aw.
He
Nice.
gave me the nickname Dominant D. And
Dominant
like I
D.
said, once you get a nickname, it's like you're for real. You're
Yo.
official.
Yo, can
That's
you
awesome.
use your links to hook us up too?
Yeah, one of the name.
Virgo gang represent. That's right. That's right. And Cancer wins. Cancer gang. Anybody else? Cancer in here?
No,
No.
I'm
Wow.
an Aries.
me
Aries.
too. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah,
nice.
me and Punky's birthdays are like a few days apart too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Are you
in a
Aries?
couple years.
Telly?
Yeah, a couple of years. Yeah, I am.
Oh, you're Aries.
Yeah, our birthdays are a couple days apart.
That's what's up. That's what's
Yeah.
up. Yeah, it's literally like what, 2 days? 2 days apart?
I'm
Something
on
like
the
that.
9th.
Yeah,
Eh.
I'm the 12th.
You're the 12th,
Yep.
yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 days.
3 days.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That'll do it. That'll do it. Right. My last question. If
Oh, Amy
Jess.
says Jess is a Cancer.
Jess, yes. Let's go. Let's go. So what kind of things do you draw inspiration from when you write? And that is my final kind of question.
Okay.
Before, it used to be not very intentional. I would just write whatever came to mind.
Yeah.
Um, I would just start with something and let it go from there. I remember in 2015, I was writing a short story, and it kind of just started as like just a random paragraph, like kind of developing this character, and I got so into it that I just kept writing and just kept developing the story into something a little bit longer. And I didn't really have an end for it. It
Yeah.
just kind of happened naturally as I was writing it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's kind of what inspired me to want to write a little bit more and do more short stories. And I kind of went into those short stories with the same approach of very intentional, just starting with whatever comes to mind and continuing on with that idea.
Yeah.
As I started to write a little bit more, I found that I couldn't really tap in to that imagination that I once had, and I had to have some kind of starting point.
Mhm.
So whether it's something happening in the world or something happening in my life, I had to have a kind of starting point and go from there. And not only go from there, but also open up this kind of vulnerability to start writing truth. And that's where for me, that's where the real writing comes from, where it starts from truth, right? And then the more details that you can add, even if they're monotonous, like those little minor details are what really puts the picture into the reader's minds of what you're trying to have them picture. And so opening up that vulnerability led me to writing a lot of poems, not so much short stories. I'm still trying to get back into that mindset of writing a short story and taking an idea and extrapolating on it. But it really turned into a lot of poems about, you know, things happening in society or relationships and romance and stuff like that, and even heartbreak, which are kind of those ones that are easy but hard to write at the same time, because you can write it and it's easy, but most of the time when you create something, the one of the goals is to at some point share it.
Yeah.
Right, so
Right.
having the vulnerability to not only write about it, but then the vulnerability to then share it with a bunch of other people,
Right.
and getting over the fact of, you know, where I started to share stuff where I'm sharing it just to get the appreciation of other people, to now getting to the point where I'm sharing it because I want to share it. You know, this is my work, this is something that I've worked on, and I'm sharing it because I'm proud of it and I want to share it, not really caring about what other people think about it. Unless they're good things, then we definitely care. But other than that, like, no, this is my work. I'm not sharing it for any other reason than because it's mine and I want to share it.
Right.
So
Right.
right
Definitely.
now, it's just um, going in with an intention of having an idea, something that is true, it's either happened to me or happened to someone I know, and just changing the characters around or something like that. But so, long story short, I draw my inspiration from truth, from reality, from real life, and then, you know, whether I want to put myself in it or tell it from a third person kind of view. But either way, it's something that I've experienced.
Right. That was a
Great answer.
Yeah, that was really good.
That was a wonderful answer. Thank you so much for all your insights. Seriously, I appreciate you taking the time to come in to hang out with us, because you've got so much insight for us.
Right. Yeah.
I just wanted to comment that specifically on that question, because there was like a lot of substance and a lot of wonderful things to that you added to that. A few now chat questions actually. It says, okay, talk about his play that just is
Oh, this
So-
one above that.
social justice play.
Oh, so I wrote a play. It was called Just Is,
Yeah,
and kind of a play off the word justice.
yeah,
Yeah.
So essentially, what the play was, it was a game show
Yeah.
where you actually, no, it wasn't a game. It was like a children's TV show. So think like Dora the Explorer,
Mhm.
where you have this character on the screen and they're going through this adventure, this journey, and they'll talk to the person watching. They'll ask them a question like,
Yeah.
"Do you see where the map is?
Yep.
Where is the map?" And there's this like this awkward silence where like you're supposed to answer, but they can't really hear you because they're not only a cartoon but they're also on TV.
Right.
So what Just Is was, it was kind of based off of that concept, but the questions were more like real life things that happen in the world. Like I think there was an Olympic swimmer, I believe it was, and they weren't allowed to bring their aid to help them. I believe they were deaf and blind. I could be getting my details wrong, but they were deaf and blind,
Yeah.
and they weren't allowed to bring their aid with them to the Olympics, to their ultimate achievement. Like they couldn't bring that aid with them.
Right.
And so essentially one of the questions would be, this person wasn't allowed to bring their aid with them, and kind of like a children's TV show kind of voice.
Yeah.
This person wasn't allowed to bring their helper with them. Is this just is or just isn't, or something like that? And you had to answer the question. This person was watching.
Oh
It's like,
wow.
Right.
oh, wait a minute. that's that's not right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like
Or
that.
that's
It's
cool. I like
almost
that.
like it has very like dystopian type vibes to it a little bit,
yeah,
to be honest. It's like the innocence of of that show kind of hides the grim reality. It's
yeah.
almost kind of like that a little bit to me. Kind of like, have you played the game We Happy Few?
No.
Is where if you take a pill, it's like, oh, all happy and all that, great, ha ha hee ha hoo hoo. And then when the pill actually wears off, then you see like kind of the grim reality of your world, of what it actually, the world around you actually looks like. It's kind of that is the kind of vibe I get from this.
And
Hmm.
that's the way you put it. That's essentially what it kind of turned into.
Yeah,
And some of the examples they started off pretty basic,
yeah,
like this person hit a home run and they celebrated, and then the other team threw a baseball at him. Is this just is or just isn't? And it's
yeah,
like, well, and the idea was having this adult person sitting at the TV watching it, not a kid.
yeah,
And
Hmm.
they
Yeah,
lost their remote, so they couldn't turn the channel. So
yeah,
they're watching this kids show, and all of a sudden it goes from this minor offense to, you know, this person was judged because they're a different color. Is this just is or just isn't? And it's like, no, wait, I thought this was a kids show. What just happened?
Hmm.
And it kind of
I
makes you go into like, wait, have I been not really promoting justice in my own life? And kind of that really that's how the play ends, where this person just questioning themselves, like, all right, what can I do to, again, make my world a little bit of a better place? Am I, when I put my money in the tip jar at Starbucks,
Yeah,
am I doing it just to be a good person, or am I being like, hey, I got $5 here. I'm putting it in your tip jar. Just wanted to let you know that that was me doing it,
right,
in kind of that selfish way. But are you doing it just like, you know what? I'm gonna help them out. I'm gonna put this in there. I don't care
right,
if they see me or not. I'm just
right.
gonna I'm just gonna do it.
It's
yeah,
So
it's like you see a lot of time in the news too. It's like a lot of people are gonna put themselves anonymous because they're like, I'm not doing this for the clout. I'm not doing this for recognition. I'm just doing it because that's just the right thing to do. You
yeah,
know, like, cause like, yeah, or I don't want to be disingenuous. I don't want to be, uh, you know, I don't want to be that guy who's doing things just for, oh, hey TikTok, look at, oh, it's like, oh, hey TikTok, look at me, I'm doing a nice thing when you're actually not doing a nice thing.
right,
yeah,
A lot of people are just keeping themselves anonymous because they want to do a nice thing and then go
Yeah,
about their day.
right,
you don't need a reward for, I hate those videos of somebody that, walks up to a homeless person and gives them food, and it's just like, that's sweet, but now you're posting it all over the internet. You're like,
right. Yeah,
you
do
want
that. Yeah,
people to be like, oh, that's a great person. Oh, that's
Right,
awesome. But like,
yeah,
that's when it gets to be a selfish gesture, a
right,
selfish
yeah.
good gesture, I guess.
yeah,
right,
And you can tell when it's not genuine.
right,
Like
Yeah.
I had that same reaction, but then, like, again, going into the sports world, where sometimes, like, when you see athletes like posting about something, or like it gets in the news, or it's shared that they did this cool thing for the community, sometimes it's like you're not doing it for to get the recognition, that you did it for
no,
selfish reasons. You want to get the recognition because there's this narrative out there that, you're just this athlete and you make all this money, and
right,
Hmm.
I could do what you do. If I was making that, I wouldn't cry about all this other stuff you're crying about.
right,
They have this narrative about them,
right,
so they put it out there like, all right, listen, I'm an athlete, and I have all this money, but I'm still going back to my community and doing something about it.
right,
So next
yeah,
time something comes up, you can't say that I'm just this dumb athlete who wants all this money
Yeah,
for himself. Like,
right,
I'm changing that narrative.
definitely.
right.
yeah,
Case
for sure.
I'm gonna I'm
Oh,
gonna say I muted myself on purpose. Case in point, let me tell you the story of Emmanuel Sanders, the Buffalo Bills wide receiver. So he, in honor of Demarius Thomas, who he played with in Denver, he donated my work, like a whole game room, to all these kids, and and his intention was not this whole. His intention wasn't this whole oh, I'm doing this because I'm getting press. Like there wasn't that much press there. It was like, oh, I'm doing this because there's gonna be press there. I'm not doing this just to be nice. He actually meant to do it to be nice. He actually, you know, because Demarius Thomas had a very close tie with the Boys and Girls Club.
oh,
So as a way to honor him, Emmanuel made that donation, and
that is so.
that's a personal experience that I've had with
He
this
came to your
kind of.
school, didn't he?
Huh?
He came to your school, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
That's
Yeah.
so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like those instances where you can see the so genuine caring for other people.
Right.
That you really do love to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anybody has any final
I
things
know
to add.
Amy had a question
She
a
did,
little
yeah.
bit back. She
Uh
asked what is Dallas's favorite movie or TV show.
oh.
That's a good one.
So I don't watch a lot of TV or movies. My favorite movie is probably Good Will Hunting.
Oh,
I could recite that movie forward and backwards probably.
aw.
Nice.
My favorite TV show is a show that I recently finished called The Good Place, written
I've
by
heard about
Michael
that.
Schur.
Yeah. Heard of that, yeah.
So I got my cat Clarice in the end of May, and having a pet and living alone kind of taught me some stuff about myself, and like it kind of like a game. I unlocked these
Yeah.
different character traits like
Yeah.
patience and love, and like, I mean, not to say I didn't love. I unlocked love. Like, oh, I can love now. No, but it's like you kind of build a relationship with something from the ground up, and it got me thinking. All right, so what else haven't I locked about myself?
Mhm.
So I started to look at some of that.
He said, Amy says, holy shirt balls. I love that show.
It's such a good show. It's
I
such a
want to
good
watch
show.
it. I haven't
Oh,
watched it yet. But
I
I've seen it on Netflix before, I think.
I totally missed the name. What was the name?
It's called The Good Place.
The Good Place. Okay.
Yeah,
I might
and
have
it's
to.
written by Michael Schur, and so I was like I was going into this world of how do I do this stuff, and also how do I become a better person.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
knew that he had wrote his book called How to Be Perfect. The answer to every moral question that you have. I think that's the full title. And the book is loosely based off the show. So a lot of the same concepts, the moral philosophy, the virtue ethics concepts that are in the show, are things that he writes about in his book.
That's
And
cool.
going to that show and talking about, and I studied philosophy at Buff State, so getting that, all that coming back to me, that philosophy, the philosophical prophet, if you would, and like virtue ethics and how to be a good person, and what kind of virtues we all have, and that kind of just traced me back to Clarice. I unlocked this virtue of patience and and love, and also like love languages like physical touch. So with a cat, cats like to be pet, and I'm often squirmish around animals, but I've gotten used to her, and she allows me to pet. Well, she doesn't allow me to. She makes me pet her. Like, I'll
Aw.
just have my hand out, and she's like, "All right, this is how you do
Yeah.
it, bozo. Do it right. No, not that way. All right, you know what? You're not doing it right. I'm gonna come back, and we can do this later." So it's really I've learned a lot, and that show kind of just helped me push me further along this path that I'm taking on myself to learn more about how to be a better person, how to be a good person, but also how to be a better version of myself.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's a good show, when it hits that deep and it
Right.
inspires that much.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep. Yep.
I know for me, my favorite movie was Jurassic Park. As a kid, I knew that movie by heart. I still do, beginning to end. If I wanted to, I could watch it in my head. But that movie like inspired me to be like, whoa, that's like wild that you can do that and make a movie about dinosaurs even though you don't know what they look like, blah blah blah. It looks so real. But like growing up, I'm like, man, I wish I could do that. I wish I could make movies like that.
Yeah. Amy says, I just want to say it was an honor to work with Dallas. He's an incredible human and I love seeing him grow. And Amy, I want to say thank you for sharing this incredible human with us
Yeah.
because we
Yeah,
are
thank you.
all better off for being friends with Dallas and getting the chance to work with him. It's so much fun to getting to work with you and seeing and hearing and understanding the insight that you have. Like you've got so much like insight and so many things to share with us, and it's so wonderful that you came into our lives and are leaving us better for it.
Right.
Yeah.
I
That
appreciate that, and like to even reflect it back, I'm not in the place or the places that I am without the people that I come into contact with. Like I truly believe I'm there. I'm here for a reason. I met Amy for a reason, and it's turned out for the better. Like I don't think I'm here
yeah,
without the people that I've met along the way, without
right,
Amy, without being here at Inclusive, without doing anything that I've done in my life. I'm not here being able to offer some of the insight that I've learned, that I'm still learning, and
right,
some of the things that I'm unlearning
right.
to try to be a better. I'm not here without any of those things. So I want to thank you all as well for being there along the journey
Of
with me,
course.
but also
Yeah.
providing the platform to me for me to kind of talk about it openly. And sometimes when you have these things in your head, they kind of make sense in your head until you kind of talk them out. It's like, all right, that didn't really make sense. Maybe I can rethink that or rework that. And that's part of being a person and our way of thinking. So I
Right.
appreciate you all for opening up the platform to allow me to talk some of this stuff out and have it make sense. Instead of just a jumble, it gets filtered out in the right order,
Yeah.
in the right
Right.
way. So
Um,
thank you to you all.
Thank you. As I say sometimes, know you.
Yeah.
Know you. A chat is feeling your love and they're giving you love right back.
Aw, I love
Um
this. I love all this wholesomeness.
yeah. This is the vibe that we kind of go for, here on the podcast, here on the channel. We want to make sure everybody is safe, everybody is feeling loved, and I hope you have felt that with us today. Um all right. If anybody has any final comments, thoughts, questions before we depart,
I do not.
do not. Telly?
I do not either.
Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Oh god, this is not departure music. I don't like this. That'll be fine. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. We do have to be off because I gotta eat as well, and I gotta let Dallas go because it's an hour and a half, and that's a lot.
Great podcast, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's
was
great.
fun. It was the one of the best hour and a halves I've had, and
Yeah.
I hope you've enjoyed this too, Dallas.
Thank you for joining us tonight, too.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for hanging out, Amy in chat, Jojo in chat. My name is Dragon. With me, we've had Dallas.
Thank you all for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you for the time. It's been truly a wonderful experience. And one thing I'll add that I really like that you guys are doing this is that this I'll go deeper. Like the journey that we all go on, it's helpful that we do it with a
Right.
partner or
Right.
Yeah.
a witness,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
like someone along
Right.
with us that can see the good in us and
Right.
also reflect it back onto us, so that way we feel one, that way we feel whole. And I think that's the feeling that we all that I definitely felt tonight, where the people that see the good in you, they reflect it onto you, and it makes you feel good, because it makes you feel like a wholesome and a whole one person.
Oh, yeah.
I appreciate you all.
Speaking of good people, we've also had Punky,
Good night, everybody.
and we've had Telly.
Good night, everyone.
But yes, guys. Dallas, once again, thank you so much for hanging out. Everybody, let's do the sign off. Y'all want to do the sign off with me?
All right.
All right. Make sure right after we go off, make sure you mute yourself because it'll still pick up your voice.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. Everybody, be
Be
safe.
safe.
Be safe.
Take care.
Take care.
Take care.
Take care.
And we
We
will see
see
you
You.
next
next
time. Good night, everybody. Be
Good
safe.
night, everyone.